Hey everyone, Happy New Year. The numbers are in for 2021 for Majestic Beach Resort in Panama City Beach. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group over at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. It's been a really interesting end of 2021, start to 2021 in the market. I'm going to get a little bit into the weeds on the data and the numbers, but if you stick with me for a little bit, I just want to give you a really good idea of what's happened recently in the market and where things we think are headed here over the short term. So let me get right into it for you. A couple of things not terribly surprising. You're going to hear this a lot. We just very generally speaking, before I get into the numbers, buyers still feel the pinch that there are not a lot of choices out there. We have low inventory or low supply, not a lot of choices for buyers. If it's done right, sellers are really reaping the benefits of this because we're still continuing to push pricing a little bit. Depending on the unit and the condition, the rental history, those kinds of things, we really should be able to get premium prices across the board, especially premium units, especially we'll be getting ultra premium pricing. Let me show you why. We had more units available for sale last year inside of Majestic Beach, which is interesting. When you look across the whole beach, there was generally less supply available for buyers to buy, but we had 10% more available in Majestic last year. Units available for sale at any given point. The number of new listings, which is a different way of saying kind of the same thing, were actually up 16%. In 2020, there were 66 new listings to the market. Last year, there were 77 new listings to the market. But here's where it gets interesting. We had 28% more contracts written for units in Majestic Beach for people to buy. That's a really big number year over year. If you think about real estate, which is generally a slow moving thing, you wouldn't be terribly surprised to see 3 months, 3%, 5%, something like that, one way or the other. 28% more contracts were written, 39% more units were sold. And get this, 39% more units were sold. We went from 56 to 78 sales last year. Volume-wise, we jumped 75%. Not only did we sell 39% more units, but they were selling for that much more money. The average sales price, and this doesn't tell the whole story, we're going to get into that in a minute, but the average sales price at Majestic went up 25% last year across the board. This is for the entire Gulfront condo market to give you some perspective. Remember this chart. There's a couple of things I really think are important for you to understand here. The red line represents the number of units for sale. The black line represents the number of closings that are happening. This is, first of all, condos across the beach. Beginning of the pandemic happened about here. And if you think about this from a buyer's perspective for a minute, month over month from early 2020 to middle of 2021, buyers had fewer and fewer choices. There were fewer condos available for sale. Someone really wanted to buy something. They were really going to start to feel a pinch because if they missed out on something, they turned around and there was just fewer choices. It was very interesting because we were watching this towards the end of last year, April, May, June, well, middle of the year, April, May, June, July, August. We had more supply all of a sudden. 4 or 5 month period, every month we had more choices. Buyers are sitting back now watching going, ooh, wait a minute. If I wait a little longer, maybe I'll have more choices. Interestingly enough, that didn't happen. We've dropped back down. We're now, supply levels have come way back down the last few months. And if you look at months of inventory, remember, I give you my months of inventory spiel. I haven't said it enough recently. Remember, and very important in real estate, that months of inventory is a good barometer of how hot or cold a market is. Traditionally, it would take you 5 or 6 months to work through the entire selling process. Seller calling, real estate office, marketing, showing, negotiating, closing. That would normally take 5 or 6 months to work through the entire thing. So when we see it happening in 2 months or 3 months or 4 months, when things are happening faster, there's more demand. That's where we're in seller market territory. Sellers have a little more of an advantage in negotiations. The longer we stay there, we tend to see prices move up, or at least at the very least stay the same, if not start to see some appreciation. So look at what's happened in months of inventory across the whole market first, and then we'll look at Majestic. When we softened in this little part right here, when the red line kind of moved up and we had more supply, we only softened to 2.53 months at the most. That means we came from like I said this the other day. We came from like the surface of the sun to the atmosphere of the sun. It's still hot. It was still hot even as we softened, but it turned right around. We're back down to 1.15 months of inventory for the entire beach, which means we would theoretically sell out in 1.15 months. That's a pretty hot market. When we look at just at Majestic, similar story, right? We had a lot of choices early 2020. We dropped back down to almost no choice in April. We came back up a little bit. Similar, though, we've come back down again. And look at months of inventory, even hotter than the rest of the market. Majestic only got up to about a month of inventory. It's back down to under 1 month of inventory, meaning we would sell out. We should sell out pretty quickly if anyone's coming up for sale. Last thing to kind of paint this picture for you. Again, here's supply, active units for sale. This is the month of August for the entire Gulf front market. Again, we know we're down in supply, but we weren't writing too many contracts in August. We were off 15%, off 18%, off 17%. September, similar story. We were off 31% in writing new business, writing contracts 33%, stuff like that. November, we had a little bit of a sign that some people were buying some units, and then Thanksgiving hit. But look at December. December, we had 35%, 32%, 8%, 62% the last month of December, more new contracts written on condos, which has tightened supply again. We're down 50% year over year. And think about what's happening. Why are people buying condos all of a sudden in December? If rental season starts March 1, you want something under contract by December, January. It's going to take 15 to 30 days to close. You've got to get rental management in place, whatever you're going to do for that, whether you self-manage, professional manage. If you're going to do anything in the unit to get it ready, that has to be done to be ready in time for March 1st. So this is a very busy time of year for us. It's a little, it doesn't seem like it would be naturally, but it is. We're selling a lot of condos. There are not a lot of choices right now, so those buyers are having a hard time, which is good if you're a seller. One takeaway from that, if you're thinking about selling and you want to sell in the spring season, that's happening now, and it's a pretty intense market, which means if you're selling, you can really push pricing over recent sales pretty substantially if you do it right. Some sales going back to December 1st, some activity in Majestic for you. We had a efficiency close for $325,000. We had a 1-bedroom, 1-bath on the market. The asking price was $365,000. It's under contract, meaning there's a buyer and seller have come to an agreement. There's a contract on it. One of the smaller 2-bedrooms. This is pretty interesting. One of the smaller 2-bedrooms is under contract. They were asking $396,000. Another one was asking $432,000, and it's now under contract. That's a pretty big spread right there. Anytime you get around major price breaks, it's sometimes hard to break through that in perception of a buyer. Sometimes it's easy for a seller, if they're getting bad advice, to look at past sales and not be willing to push past that. I would contend that, and condition and things like that have a lot to do with it for sure too. But the pricing here, I think someone did a really excellent job of knowing what's happening in the market and pressing way past where recent sales have been. It's an intense market. Things are happening fast. That's how you do it. A little bit larger 2-bedroom closed $473,000. Another one closed $475,000. This is all since December 1st. Another one a little bit larger than that now closed at $502,000. A 3-bedroom closed at $545,000. One of the few units that's available for sale, asking $569,000. Look at that, 1,091 square foot unit. That the only recent sale is $475,000. They're asking $569,900. Just from this little thumbnail, it doesn't look like major upgrades, at least in the bathroom, and maybe a little too aggressive to get real interest. But we'll see what happens there. Another 3-bedroom, 1,273 square foot unit closed at $570,000. We have another one of those smaller units on the market asking $575,000 again. That may be there's aggressive and then there's uber aggressive. We'll see what happens. A larger 2-bedroom plan, asking price was $575,000. It's under contract. A 3-bedroom plan asking $577,000 is under contract. This is all since December 1st. Another 3-bedroom, 579 is the asking price. It's under contract. 3-bedroom is on the market at 645. We have one in the O2 stack of Tower 1 asking 739. It is under contract. And an O1 stack in Tower 2 asking 799 500. There aren't a lot of choices. If you're thinking about selling in this market, again, this is the time to be aggressive. Again, there's aggressive and there's probably out of the market, but I like seeing anybody who's pushing and testing things in this market. This is the kind of market for now where I think you can still do that. We're actively working with 2 buyers right now that are specifically looking in Majestic for a larger 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom. So if you're thinking about selling, we'd love to talk to you, especially if you have one of those plans. I would expect a couple of things we're watching. Certainly, it may not feel like it, especially if you live somewhere that's even colder than here. It may not feel like beach condo season or beach condo selling season, but there's a lot of demand right now, and you don't have a lot of competition if you're a seller. So if you're thinking about liquidating at these prices early in the year, I would probably encourage you to start your process sooner. A lot of people tend to come to the market February and March when things start to warm up, thinking that they're ready to sell for the summer, but our season really doesn't work that way. More of the buying and selling is happening. If you look back at those charts and pause it to see where some of the activity is happening, more of the buying and selling happens between now and April and September and the end of the year. It's too busy in the height of season for buyers to really be able to see everything they want to see. So if you're thinking about that, we'd love to talk to you. We'd like to show you our pricing strategies and even more important, our strategies on how to close something, to have a successful closing over where probably appraised values will come in. The things we're probably watching out for still is if we start to pick up on any trends of supply coming up like we did late last year. We saw signs of the market softening. I know a lot of people subscribe to about an 18-year cycle in real estate. If that's the case, we're right towards the end of that. At some point, we may have a lot of people taking profits. We've had so much appreciation recently that you could see that happening at some point. And that could happen pretty quickly if something happened nationally in the economy that made people say, oh, wait, you know, right now a lot of people feel really good about the value of their portfolio in real estate in Panama City Beach. Something happened dramatic in the market very quickly, the stock market, or we continue to see real tangible moves towards higher interest rates, things like that that could affect people's decision making on their whole portfolio. Could say, ooh, we better put the condo in Florida up for sale. That's something to watch out for. So I think between now and April or May is still a pretty safe bet that we're going to have, we wouldn't see prices move back at any time at this point. If anything, they're going to stay pretty strong, maybe even get a little bit of a bump between now and then. It'll be interesting to see what happens from then to the end of the year, and see if at some point we start to see that supply number come up. The more supply we get, and it can happen in condos pretty quickly, values reset very quickly in both directions. If everything's sitting here at 500 and someone sells at 515 for the same floor plan, why would that not be the next value basis for someone, as long as we're comparing apples to apples in condition? Same thing the other way. Everyone's sitting at 500, 500, 500, and someone really needs to sell at 485. That really is a challenge for that same floor plan, especially if you get another sale down that way. So we'll continue to watch the market for you. We hope this helps you understand a little bit about why things are so hot. Probably most of you are getting our e-alerts already. It's a really good way to stay on top of the market quickly. You'll get an e-alert, for those of you who don't know. Anytime a unit in Majestic comes up for sale, changes price, goes under contract, or sells, you can be notified. And we can send it to you anytime that happens, or batch it up, week by week or month by month. It's a very excellent way to stay on top of what's happening dynamically in the market. They just texted me 850-527-0221, and I can get you set up in that system if that's something that you want. No obligation, no charge or anything. Hope you guys found this helpful. I know it's a lot. Thanks for watching. I just wanted to get into the data a little bit to show you why, really what's happening and what to be looking out for going forward. We'll be back next month for a little lighter overview, and you guys stay safe. Happy New Year.